There we go. Now it should be up. Oh, what? Seriously? Alrighty, there we go. I'll share it out. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. Incredible greetings. It is Monday. I spent the majority of my Monday morning and afternoon live over on TikTok, just being me. Like, it wasn't necessarily like teaching, although we got some questions over there. And I think I'm gonna end up doing that more to where it's just like literally like just Shakia. Not Shakia the professor, just Shakia. So spend some time over there. But of course, I could not not come on this platform today. So here I am. All right. And my chair is not even in here. I'm in the process of finally, because this weekend it was a hotmess.com in here because I had a bunch of designs I had to do back to 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 back. So yeah, got the majority of this area cleaned up, and I just, however long you guys are actually active, I'm not going to force you guys to be active to ask questions or anything like that. But I didn't want to not go live over here either. So the moment we have too much of a long break in silence, we'll go ahead and end this particular live video. But I'm here, How are you guys this weekend? What did you guys accomplish? What did you learn new this weekend? What did you work on this past weekend? Did you open a new machine, get to new software, work on a new design? So let me know what all you guys did this weekend. And then, of course, I'm here to help if you have any questions about things that you experienced over the weekend. Even if you think like you figured out the answer for it, maybe something where it's like an easier way to do it or a different answer. So feel free to post those questions as well. All right. So if you don't know who I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. We carry sublimation paper. So if you are a sublimation enthusiast, someone that's looking to get into sublimation and that whole process, we are able to help and assist with learning how to design for sublimation, learning how to utilize the printers, troubleshoot them, and then actually print them out and apply them to your sublimation ready substrates. We also assist with regular prints from just printers for stickers, labels, invitations, party favors, centerpieces. We've done some, I teach about foam board projects. And then, of course, the business side, everything from websites to marketing, branding, navigating social media, things of that nature, just advice, mindset. These are all the things and some of the content that you receive over on our platforms. We have 2 YouTube channels, Silaholics Anonymous and Honestly Speaking. Silaholics Anonymous is mainly for our silhouette type trainings, although I am streaming right now to all platforms because this is just kind of a general informational live. So I'm streaming to all platforms, but Silaholics Anonymous is where you will learn techniques and strategies and tips and tutorials and classes on using Silhouette Studio, as well as the Cameo machines. And then honestly speaking, is pretty much for everything else, everything from sublimation, full-on demos. When I'm working on orders, you'll find that content over there. So check that out. And then of course, our website, shop.hsinc365.com. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, like I said, I want to just get right into it. I see someone that says, I need your help. Drop your question and we'll see if we can get you some and see if we can help you figure out your issue and work through that today. So incredible greetings. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, how art thou? Hola, people. Incredible greetings. Hello, beginner here watching from Arkansas, or like I like to say, Arkansas. Hello, hello. Just caught a little bit of that. Incredible greetings. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello. So whoever that was, I need your help. Go ahead and type in your comment or your help question. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and are having a great start to the new week. I learned how to do rhinestones. I have a new love. Which kind of rhinestones? As in hot fix for shirts or rhinestones in stoning like tumblers or hard substrates like like badge reels, things like that. I can never line the registration marks right for my stickers. What am I doing wrong? Or wait, I use an offset. So offset has nothing to do with your registration. So is it that it's just simply not reading your registration marks when you are doing print and cut? So I need to know that. And then also which machine are you using? And also what material are you printing to? If you had a choice of the Caesar Juliet or the new Cameo, which would you choose? They're not the same in any way, shape, or form. If you are someone of the mindset that your program has to match the cutter, then you're going to go with the Cameo because their program, their design program it's not like how Silhouette is. But if you are someone who does not mind designing in one, saving it as a cut file, opening that file in the cut software, then that it's going to be a more efficient. The Caesar machines are a more efficient cutting type of machine. Now, I have not tested the print and cut. If your main thing is print and cut, I am one where I probably wouldn't, like if I designed it over here, I would want to print it and cut it from the same program. But if you're just kind of creating for cutting vinyl, cutting adhesive vinyl, then, and you're going to do a great deal of cutting, then I would say still learn Silhouette Studio, but the Caesar machines are going to be a more efficient machine. I don't have a problem with mine. I do still plan to get the 5 for teaching purposes. I don't have a major issue with Cameos other than the 3. Y'all know I don't like that sucker. But yeah, okay. So let's see. I worked on edit points, cropping and modifying based on your vectorizing live training from this weekend. Awesome. Hello, frustrated. Do you think if I order my sublimation ink for my 7310 printer if I order my sublimation ink for my Epson 7310 printer, my printer will work because I ordered from email and not working. Had my printer since 6 months, haven't been able to use it. I need it real bad. I'm not sure what you're asking. You're saying if you order a new kit from us, if you have the updated firmware, it's not going to work. Now, if you order a set of chips or cartridges from us, actually you have a 7310. I actually don't have a firmware update for the 7310, so I actually could not help you. So, just simply ordering ours may not help you because you are on a firmware that those chips are not compatible with, and we have yet to find a firmware update or even know how to force it to go to that update. So I'm sorry, wouldn't be able to help with that one. I'm not one that does embossing. I don't have a curio machine. I don't really do a lot of card making to do embossing, so I've never done that. And on the Cameo, you cannot, like on all the other Cameos, you cannot emboss. How do I determine when my print box is almost depleted? Your print box? Do you mean your maintenance box that the ink goes into? Also, which printer do you have? Ooh, Hotfix. Awesome. So it's not that it's no good. It's just that you won't be able to use third party ones. So it's more expensive. You would have to purchase Epson cartridges to harvest the chips off of it. That's what people were doing in the beginning when there were no refillable cartridges. There were no third party chips whatsoever. You would buy the Epson cartridges and, pop off the chip and then modify the clip and put, sit the chip on there, and then you can use it. It's just that it's more expensive that way because, of course, their cartridges, you're paying more for them because they have their ink, and that ink will be trash. Like there's nothing you can do. That cartridge does not work without the chip on it. So you're simply buying it to take the chip off, but you could still use the printer. All right, so it will tell you when it's low. It will tell you. So you're just looking at the indicator on there. It's not like the cartridges where it's full of ink and as it goes down, it's losing ink. Theirs is like more so judging space. So if it starts off where it looks like it's full, like that indicator, and that indicator is just going to move back. But once it gets close to it, it's going to let you know. Like there's going to be a warning that your maintenance box is near the end of its life cycle, but you can change those. But yeah, it lets you know. Unless you are doing a whole lot of print head cleanings, like you're constantly doing print head cleanings, that maintenance box is not going to fill up fast. Okay, it's not cutting right. I don't think it's reading the registration marks. I use sticker paper. Again, that's not really helping me. So what do you mean it's not cutting right? Is it off? When it goes, like, is it glossy sticker paper? Is it matte? When you're saying it's not cutting right, is it not cutting all the way through? Are your cuts off? Is it off by a lot? Let me see what else. Are you using a matte? What size paper? These are all things that play a role in it. Is it going through and it actually reads it? So it'll tell you if it's not reading it, it'll say registration mark failed. But if it goes through and it reads that first one, goes to the bottom one, reads that, and goes to the top and it starts cutting, then it's not necessarily an issue with the registration marks because it's reading that. Now you may have extra stuff around it that's affecting the registration marks or affecting how it reads, but it's still reading the registration marks. What sublimation ink do I recommend? I recommend, honestly speaking, sublimation ink and paper. Shop.hsink365.com. Honestly speaking, or HS Ink 365, sublimation ink and paper. Yes, we have a video. So if you go to so on YouTube, if you type in honestly speaking Epson chips, so type in that, you'll see the video where I show how to take the chip off and how to modify the clip, because you got to kind of cut some pieces off to sit the Epson chip on there. Yes, so you would still use it with the ink you have, the cartridge you have. You're just getting the chips off of the Epson cartridges. The cuts are off. I use a mat. It reads it. Okay, so only thing I'll go through when it comes to print and cut, and you can look and see if this is anything that's wrong with yours. I also have a very, very detailed print and cut video where I go over all this. You can try these things and see if that improves it. So just give me a moment. Is that because the chips are no longer, so the chips are only single use. If you were able to use chips, let's say you were using them, and eventually a chip said cartridge not recognized, that chip is only a single use. The chips are like a countdown counter. They hold a certain number of prints. Once you are printing, the printer does not know how much actual ink is in the cartridge. The chip is what controls that level. So it's just kind of, it's almost like a guesstimate. Okay, if this is full and you're using this settings and you're using these size paper, it should average around this amount of like ink, and then based off the colors. So that is what controls it. Once that gets down to 0 and this printer says, you've done quite a bit of printing with this particular color, this particular setting on this particular size paper, you should not technically have any more ink in this cartridge. So we no longer work, and you have to keep changing the chip out. Now, if you have a brand new set of chips or cartridges, and as soon as you put it in there, it says not recognized, it's because that chip is not compatible with the firmware that your printer currently has. So there's going to be 2 reasons why you're going to get that X, but basically that chip is no good in your particular printer. What's the shelf life? There really isn't a shelf life for any inks. They're still going to work. They're going to still do what they're supposed to do. But just to be like on the safe side and to keep people just from storing and just stocking up and just stockpiling ink and just having it sit there, we say between 18 and 24 months, but there really is no actual shelf life for ink. No, there's not. Our ink is water-based. Sawgrasses use gel-based inks. Okay, so I was trying to pull this up. All right, so when it comes to, hold on one second. Let me, okay, so we have that at the bottom. Okay, if you were doing print and cuts, key thing is, of course, your machine is set to Cameo. You have your mat set, and your page size must match whatever paper you are using. If your paper is 8.5 by 11, it needs to say 8.5 by 11. It cannot be set to A2, A4, A3, whatever all these different A's are. It must be set to that. If you're using these A4, A5, whatever, you need to come on here and you need to choose. You need to choose the A4, A3, But if you're using 11 by 17, you type that in. 12 by 18, you type that in. Your paper size must match the media, whether it is sticker paper, regular paper, vellum, like it must match the exact size. If your paper is smaller and you have a 6 by 13 inch paper, you need to put 6 by 13 on there. Once you do that, you're going to come over to your registration marks. You're going to turn that on. Automatically take your thickness all the way up. It does not change anything. All it does is help. I don't understand the purpose of even having this option where it's not the thickest and the darkest version ever. Don't understand the purpose of having it where it's low. Take it all the way up. Now, me personally, I like my length to be longer. The longer the registration marks, the more accurate their registration is going to be. So I personally don't go past 0.625. I don't recommend going past 0.5, but hey, if you want to live on the wild side and go lower because you want to get more space, you can. Just understand that having it there can be the difference in you not getting a great cut. So I personally don't go past 0.625. My recommendation is not to go past 0.5. All right. I don't recommend, if you're new, that you play around with your insets. Once you get a better handle of Silhouette Studio and like kind of using it, then you can adjust your insets. Your bottom inset is going to be the major one, especially if you are using a small format printer that only prints 8.5 inches wide, because not all of them are borderless. And if you take your inset down too far, when it prints out, you're not going to see a full L. It's going to be cut off, and that is going to affect your registration. It may still register, but the cuts are going to be off. Once you have your design here, you cannot, under any circumstances, have any part of the colored design in the hash mark area. Now, at the top, it does not matter because that has nothing to do with registration. That only has to do with whether or not it's going to cut. But in this area right here, where those hash marks are, up in here, even if it's like the tip of it, technically, the eye has no business looking in that area. But if anything is in that area, it will affect your registration and your cuts will be off. So in any of the hash mark areas, you cannot absolutely, under any circumstances, have anything in any of these restrictive areas. Even if it's right here on the edge, that's going to affect how it registers. Okay. And then it comes down to your cut settings. I personally do not use any of their standard ones because you don't know what paper they use to actually test it. It's best for you to do your own testing to see how deep it needs to be. You want the lowest possible settings. So if you're using something that's really thin, like sticker paper or like vinyl, but you have it dialed all the way up to like a blade of 7, a force of 15, 20, things like that, it's cutting too deep. And when it nicks the mat, it's going to knock off the cut. So you have to find the ideal setting. Can I give you an ideal setting? No, because I don't know the condition of your blade. I don't know the condition of your mat. I don't know the material that you are cutting to. Now, we do have a class that's called First Cuts, where I break down how blade depth, force, and speed play a role together, and even how many passes that you do. So you have to understand how your blade works to figure out what's going to be the best setting for your material. So that can be like, if all the other things are set up correctly, it's going to be how you're loading your mat. Are you using a silhouette mat? Are you using a non-silhouette mat? If you're using a non-silhouette mat, it actually might be in the wrong area. So that's going to affect how it cuts. If everything is in alignment with the mat, where it's located, like where you have it positioned at, nothing is in the restrictive areas, then 9 times out of 10, it is your blade and your cut settings. So technically, they last how long they're supposed to last, as standard. Most third-party cartridges are actually rated for XL. If you were to purchase the XL chips, which cost about 30 some odd bucks, they're going to last just as long as third-party chips. But when you go into the store and you just buy the standard $13 one, that's a standard cartridge, and you only get, so many prints out of that. If you are someone that does a lot of premium matte, so it's not that it doesn't last long. Most people are trying to use that premium matte. Premium matte use 4 times the amount of ink as plain paper. So it's going to run out faster, which is one of the reasons why our paper is ideal if you want to be more efficient. You want to save time. You want to save money. You want to get our paper because you're going to get bright, vibrant colors. And this was printed with plain paper setting. I don't have... Oh, well, I have this one. So it's messed up on the end, but it's plain paper setting. I don't think I have any shirts in here. So my grandmother's rag, plain paper setting, and the saturation, the colors are amazing. So you don't have to use premium matte, which is going to use 4 times the amount of ink. Um, the offset serves as a border. That is with cutting. That has nothing to do with your registration. Now, if you have a border, you can have that if you're cutting stickers and you don't want it to cut to the edge, but you can cut right to the edge of any design. You don't have to have a border around it. What's the best way to promote your business when you're just starting out? Is it having a website? A website has nothing to do with promotion. A website is, well, it depends. So if you have an e-commerce site, that's not promoting your business. You have to send traffic there. Actually, even once you have a website, that's not promotion. That is where you would send people to so that they can see all the information about your business, see what your company offers. What are your operating hours? How do they contact you to see reviews, things like that? That has nothing to do with promoting. You, in your promotion, you are sending people to your website so that you don't have to verbalize it to every single person, because then your mouth is going to get tired. It's just going to get tired of that. So your website is a universal way for people to know about your business, and you don't have to sit up there talking about it all the time. They can visit that, they can see what you're about, see what you offer. If you have an e-commerce site, there's a difference between a website and a selling, like your e-commerce site. You can have a website, a news web, like that's their website. They're not selling anything, they're providing news information. You can have a one-page website that just lists what your company is, who you service, what areas you service, what type of items do you make, what type of services do you provide, and that's all that website is. And then and they would have to contact you via email, call you to complete the transaction. Then you have an e-commerce website where you are going to, like, they're going to complete the transaction on that website. There's no exchange of money or Zelle numbers or Cash App or whatever. Everything is done on here, and it'll give you a list of like things that you need. Like you'll have your list of like open orders, and you'll see if they're fulfilled and all that, and it kind of helps you stay organized. But that has nothing to do with promotion. Promotion is how you get it, how you get the word out there. So whether you're going to use social media for it, and you're going to consistently post, you're going to take effective pictures and not just these like just random type pictures. I'm one that y'all know I despise pictures on that white fur. Can't stand it. There's more creative ways, and it should actually match what you're doing, whether you're using mock-ups, but use mock-ups correctly. So it's about the media that you are using, the imagery that you're using, and then the words that you pair with it, the hashtags that you pair with it. Old school methods work. Just because everything is digital, it's great to do things digitally, but old school works as well. It's your business. You need to get out and spread the word. If it's you taking a walk, if it's the school, if it's you taking a walk around your neighborhood, wearing your, like, you be your own billboard, you have a shirt with your brand, put everything that you do on the back. When you're going into the store, having conversation, like it's a conversation piece, striking up conversations with people, going to the schools, going to local businesses, going uh, getting involved in your city, in your like your actual city, your county, going to the town hall meetings, going to the crime watch meetings, like where people are who are going to need your services or products. Go where they are at locally. If it's the people at your church, actually talk about your business. Stop being afraid. Oh, I don't want to sound too salesy, and people make me think like I'm just like begging for sales. You're in sales, you're in business. Tell them, let them know you have a business. Use your mouth, use your voice. That is a great way to promote. Give some ish away for free. A party is coming up. Stop being. Hold on one second. What was I saying? But yeah, you're going to have to actually utilize your voice and let people know what your business is and what it is that you do. Do you have to do live videos like I do? No. Live videos help because I have thousands of people who ask me questions all the time. So this just makes it easier to disseminate this, like to distribute this information to those who need it. So I do live videos and I'm comfortable with it. I'm more of a visual and audio type person, like how I learn better versus like reading. Don't get me wrong, I like to read, but I like to read for entertainment. When it comes to certain things, I like to physically like see it and see how it's done. So I chose to do that for others and give them a visual representation rather than just kind of do like a written blog with just still pictures. So you just have to figure out what's going to work best for you. Where is your audience? Oh, I know I was saying like give some things away for free. If you have a event coming up, instead of going out to purchase something, if it's like for a baby shower, make some stuff. A lot of times these baby showers are going to open them up in front of people. Ooh, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. This is wonderful. You're on your regular job. Take your cups and things like that and let them know what it is that you do. That is promoting your business. Creating actual printed media. Business cards still work. Flyers still work. Brochures still work. Social media is great, but those are still some tried and true methods. Is there a way to change saturation on an image? I use saturation button and up the saturation, then I hit apply and I can't tell a difference. You can't tell a difference what on the screen or when it's printed out. And you're trying to up the saturation for what's missing, where you feel as if saturation will actually help. Because if what you're trying to accomplish, saturation isn't the right tool, then you're not going to see a difference. What wide format printer do I suggest for what? For sublimation? The only ones that I recommend at this current time is the 16600, 16650, which are $1,000 and $1,300 respectively, or the F570, which is about $2,200, $2,500. Those are the large or wide format printers that I currently recommend. Epson ET 16600, 16650, or F570. Hi, watching one of your old videos on how to push air. If you have any questions, let me know. Incredible greetings. Hey. How do I get the cartridge to move freely over the paper towel? You have to go to, in the beginning, it's one of the first steps to go to settings, maintenance, ink cartridge replacement. If you just simply open it, it's not going to unlock it. So you cannot skip that first part that tells you to go to settings, maintenance, ink cartridge replacement. No, you can definitely ask your questions. That's what this is for. What is the correct way to use a mock-up? Meaning your design actually is the right size. I see so many people who have like these humongous mock-ups, using them where it's like clean backgrounds. If you're going to use mock-ups, try and use like the same shirts. If your site's going to be full of mock-ups, one thing I cannot stand is a site that has like a mixture of mock-ups and then regular images, like all on the same page, like the same like home screen. It's like a mix of them. Either use all mock-ups on like as far as your main picture, and you can have what's called like lifestyle pictures or like other pictures like as not the main one. Like when they click on that product, they can filter through the images, but that main one should be nice and clean. That's me. Don't want to sound too salesy, then you don't want to have a business. Plain and simple. You don't want a business. If you don't want to sound salesy, you don't want a business, because that is what business is. I take my cup wherever I go. Perfect. I don't answer DMs. You have to either post it in the group, or you can book a one-on-one session or ask the question on these platforms. about my Cameo 4 cutting in the center of the HTV. Are you able to tell me how to correct this? That's something where in the group would actually be the best place to post that question so that I can actually see a picture, like see your design page, how you have it set up. Let me see where it's actually cutting at, because just saying it's cutting in the center of the HTV, I have no idea what that means. First time here, Crafty Me. Well, welcome. Hopefully it will not be your last. Not sure you're on YouTube, so I'm not sure what you normally search to where it kind of put us on your timeline, but we are glad to have you here. I am Shakia the Professor. My company is HS Inc. 365. It is abbreviation of Honestly Speaking, as in HS for Honestly Speaking, and then the Inc. is there. So HS Inc. and 365 is because if you are someone that does sublimation, we have the most efficient sublimation paper on the market. No one else is going to give you the specs that we have when it comes to the paper. Everybody else, you're going to see 400 degrees, 60 seconds, people talking about using premium presentation mat. We literally advertise the most efficient paper on the market when it comes to sublimation. You don't have to use premium presentation paper mat or any high ink setting. You can get great saturation, great colors, just using plain paper setting. Also, our paper allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees on a flatbed press as fast as 30 seconds. We've done tons and tons and tons and tons of demos. I don't have the heat press on right now to do a demo right now. But even with this, like this is glitter cardstock, and this was pressed in 30 seconds. So you get amazing colors with our products. Oh, here's something that was fabric and that was pressed. So 30 seconds. It's a graduation stole. So you can check that out. We also have the ink for the printers, 140 milliliter bottles. They are keyed for eco tanks. However, we also sell syringes and needles where you can fill up your cartridges with this ink. If you have an F570, although our ink is absolutely fabulous, we highly recommend that you stick with the Epson ink because that is actually formulated to match that color profile in their firmware for you to get colors that are going to be accurate and not have to play around with like settings and things like that and profiles and whatnot. So we recommend that you do continue to use the Epson ink. However, you can utilize our paper. The rolls are on pre-sale right now. You can go over there and order that. But you also can still use sheets with those printers also. We also teach Silhouette Studio and designing. We also teach business and a little bit of Photoshop. So check out all of our content on our 2 YouTube channels and also visit our website to see if any of our products, classes, or digital files are going to be useful for you. Printed out, it's scanned image. Wait, it is a scanned image of a wedding that was what I received, which had pictures. Wait, I don't see the first part of the question, Russ. Wait, where's the first part of your question? You was like, I'll ask my question of the day. So you just said printed it out, but I don't understand, like that kind of came like out of left field. So let me know the rest of that. Oh, with the saturation. So you're saying you printed it out. It is a scanned image for a wedding, and that's what I received, which had pictures in it. So it was more dull image. It was dull after you pressed. So is this sublimation or is this for a regular print? Like what you see is what you get, or is it for sublimation? And if it is for sublimation, is it that once you pressed it, it was still dull, or the print on the paper was dull? 7720 sublimation printer sat for 2 years and is not printing now. Can it be salvaged? You can try to push air, like do the whole push air, but I would recommend doing it with a cleaning solution and seeing if that works. If you go through that a couple cycles and it doesn't work, then yeah, it's probably no good. But I know of people who had one sit and they'll just do the push air with the cleaning solution, and then they'll push air to push the ink through it, and they'll just do a couple of those cycles. Did you create the turning tumbler mock-up I seen in one of your lives? If so, where'd you get? No, so I use Mug Animator. Mug Animator is what I use for that. Okay, after you subbed it on the mug, it was still dull. So saturation is not going to help it not be dull. Like it will make colors like, I mean, it can somewhat help, but it's not just saturation. So, like, let's say someone sends me a picture and it's kind of washed out, or there is like a shadow on it. You're using not from your print settings saturation. You're going to use your image effects and change the contrast and the saturation so that it's not a washed out kind of like image, and it's just going to beef up some of those highlights and like shadows and things of that nature. So you're doing that from image effects. If you're using Silhouette Studio, or if you're using Photoshop, you're going to go in and change your levels. That's when you're editing and altering the picture to make it appear better. But your print settings saturation, you're not going to see any difference. Let me see. Okay, here is a good image here. So I actually did this in a video. So you see how this image is. It was a picture where it was probably they did not clean their lens. Also, it has like wherever she was sitting at, it has a light shining on one side. So saturation here under image effects, you can adjust the saturation, and you can slightly, this is just me adjusting the saturation. You can see the color that's coming into it. But it could make her face really, really red. So you can adjust your saturation. You can do things like adjust your contrast to also bring in some color. Her dress or her top becomes more blue. You can either up the brightness, which is going to make it more white, or you can bring that brightness down to kind of drop some of those highlights and increase some of those shadows. All right, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to adjust my gamma. So I can do that where I'm not necessarily changing her skin tone, but I am kind of taking away some of that ashiness by adjusting the gamma. This is photo editing, not anything to do with print. So you can make those adjustments to where if you don't want it to come out looking ashy like, you can make adjustments like this. So that's the differences in using kind of like your saturation and contrast and brightness. And then this one, and gamma won't always work. You just have to play around with them. We teach about image effects in the 30-day training and how they can affect your pictures. You can make your own cleaning solution. If it's been sitting for a long time, I do recommend purchasing the cleaning solution, because that's going to have, like when you're just making it, it's like if you just want to flush out color because it's just water, a little like with alcohol, a little bit of water and a little bit of dish liquid. But when you're actually getting the cleaning solution, it's going to have agents in there that's meant for like not say solvent type, but it's more of a cleanser. So if it's been sitting for a long time, I'm going to recommend more of the true cleanser one versus one that's just for flushing out cartridges or flushing out lines. Okay, so how to scan? You just go to the Epson. You're going to go to your settings. You're going to go to your apps, and you're going to go to Epson Scan 2. Epson Scan 2. It's going to bring this up, and you're going to hit scan. You're going to put your print, you're going to put your image on the scan bed, and you're going to scan it. That's it. That's a clear difference. Thank you. I'm on day 4 of the 30-day challenge. So let's see. I don't remember what day that is. So day 4 image effects is day 22. If you guys are finding this information helpful, please don't be like, just kind of come over here and take and get all this good information. Make sure that you guys help the broadcast. Help me continue to grow. If you like these types of setups where you are literally getting your questions answered instantaneously live in real time, I need your support, guys. I need to know that these are worth it. Like, it's bad enough, contrary to what people believe, because I'm on YouTube, not really getting paid. I have videos where if you don't hit 1,000 views on it, it's like you're virtually not getting paid for that, like for that time. So I can be on a video for 2 hours, and if I don't hit 1,000, depending on how that advertiser like bids on it, I literally have that video up there and I'm not going to get paid until it hits 1,000 views. But what also helps is just the engagement, like for them to push out my content so that people can see it. So when you like, when you comment, when you share, when you tag a friend, all of that helps the engagement on my content. And it's what motivates me to keep going, because when I go and I look at my analytics and it's looking real shabby, I'm like, what am I doing this for? I am giving you guys over 20 years of knowledge and expertise, and you are benefiting from it, and I don't benefit from it at all. So a lot of people that use our information about printers, I'm helping you set it up, yet you're still using somebody else's ink. You're still using somebody else's paper. You still took somebody else's class, but you come over here for the free content. I'm not saying that's everybody, but my numbers don't lie. Hey, it is what it is. So if you guys could show some love, show some support. If you use the product, let someone know, hey, if you're starting out, this is a great product to use. Recommend us to people. Continue to like, share, comment, and tag a friend. Let's see. First time here, and I am a beginner. This is definitely for beginners. My Epson 2720, the colors are off, and it's printing lines through my design. Do you know what that would be? Of course I know what that will be, but I do have a question. When you say it's printing lines, so some people will say lines, but it's not really like lines. So these are like lines, because those are banding lines. Like these are, wait, where it is. These are lines. Oh, it's this way. These are lines, right? What some people are getting, they are straight, like it's making a line of dots. Are you getting banding lines, or are you getting lines of dots? And I'm going to come back to it. I just did a video. I have a full video on why, but I love breaking down the inks. So I'm going to do that. So stick around, don't leave, and I will tell you why your colors are off. Okay. Hey, where's my ink? I just did the demo. Dude, I just did this demo the other day. Where my ink, homie? Seriously? Now, I just did this demo the other day. Where is my ink? I mean, this ain't the one I want. I mean, you can't, like, the yellow ink, like, normally really makes people see the difference. Where is my yellow dye ink? Where art thou, Herbo? Let's see. I just had this sucker on my demo the other day. What did I do with it? Now I be a monkey's uncle. Okay, did it fall somewhere? Oh, here it is. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, hold on. Cause your girl a little ashy. I can't be. Why y'all ain't tell me I was a little bit ashy holding my hands up? No, that's not the one. I'm looking for dye ink. No, those are our inks. No, I'm looking for the dye ink. Okay. Okay, so you believe that it's banding lines. What print settings do you use? What print settings do you use? And if when you print, do you ever get a paper mismatch error? Do you ever get a paper mismatch error? What print settings are you using? And do you ever get a paper mismatch error? I am using your paper and it's well worth it. Every image I use is great except the dull scanned image. Thank you. Okay. Yes, you do. All right. When you get the paper mismatch, do you recall what it is that you click? And what settings are you actually sending? Are you sending a premium matte setting? Hold on, I'm coming right back. Okay, yes. So it says it does not match, but it's all about what you tap. So here is, hell no, you don't lost your mind, Shakia. Girl, you can't put that up there. Been on drop my dang old laptop and I be in here crying. Okay, so here is, she's trying to see if it will do it now. Here is what's happening, right? When you are doing that. Printers come defaulted. Oh, wait, first, hold on. I gotta make sure y'all are ready to receive this. Okay. So I'll give you an opportunity to get pen and paper or write down this number. We are at 55 minutes and 37 seconds. So I'm going to start at around like by the time I get done with this, around like 57 minutes. So you can go back on YouTube, go to YouTube at the 57-inch mark. And that's where, if you need to like come back to write it down, 57 minutes is the mark that you're going to go to. So maybe start around like 56 and 30 seconds. Okay. What I need for y'all to do right now, hashtag TPTM. I need y'all to run it up, 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 run it up. Put it a couple times. TPTM, TPTM. Hashtag TPTM. That stands for the professor taught me. Okay. Need y'all to run it up. Run it up, 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 run it up. And I need you to write down 57 seconds. Y'all got like 30 seconds to write TPTM. I'm gonna start it right at 57 seconds. Okay. Thank you, 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 thank you for putting it twice. Run it up, 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 run it up. Yes, 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 yes. All right, cool beats. So, I'm waiting because I want y'all to go right to 57 seconds. 57 minutes. 57 minutes. 57 minutes. There we go. All right. So, when you have any printer, it is going to come in the default setting. When you're looking at your settings, there is a paper type, there is a size, like for the size, paper size, and there's paper type. Okay. The default is always going to be 8.5 by 11 set to plain paper. 8.5 by 11 set to plain paper. Okay. That is the default, no matter which printer it is. Even if your printer prints 13 by 19 on an Epson printer, the default is going to be plain paper, 8.5 by 11. If you change that from 8.5 by 11 to 8.5 by 14, but still leave it at plain paper, it is still going to trigger a paper mismatch. If you change it to 11 by 17, it is going to trigger a paper mismatch. If you change the setting to, it's still an 8.5 by 11, but you change that to premium matte, it is going to trigger a paper mismatch. When that paper mismatch comes up, it's going to ask you, do you want to print this under these settings? The settings, okay, so this is for all of the, I don't have a 15,000 or the 16,600. Well, the 16,600, I know it's like the workforce print, because that one's different. But like all of the small format ones, and I believe the 15,000 is that way as well. It's going to say, and also like the 7310, 7210, it's going to say, do you want to send it as this setting? Whatever, it'll say 8.5 by 11 plain paper. No, because that's not what you're sending it as. So you're going to do whatever it says for you to select no. Then it's going to say, load the paper. On my workforce, it asks you like which setting you're going to send it as, but they can either say send it as this setting, or it'll just say, okay, load the proper paper. Once you do that, even though you're printing on the same, like you can print on glossy paper, sublimation paper, whoever, whatever. When you do that and you say no, and now it's telling you to print, it's then going to switch to that setting. So so if you had it set to premium matte, and when it asks you that paper mismatch and you just hit yes, you are telling it to still send as plain paper standard. Plain paper standard is the lowest possible setting, print setting. It is meant to basically give you a draft. You're going to have banding lines. That's where your ink is going to like spew out. Like it's going to like kind of like how with that little print that I just had. I don't know where it went, but that first one I showed, like that blue one, and it kind of like spread out, it's going to look like that because you are sending it it's still printing on that default setting of plain paper standard. You have to hit no so that it switches to premium matte and you won't get the banding lines. Or let's say you want it to go to 8.5 by 14, you got the paper mismatch, but you hit yes, it's still only going to print 8.5 by 11. You're going to lose the rest of that print. So you have to hit the correct, you have to read it and read what it says and remember what you sent it as. If what shows up on that screen is not the settings that you specified, if you said 8.5 by 14 premium matte, but it's saying 8.5 by 14 plain, you hit no. If you sent it as 13 by 19, No, if let's say, yeah, you sent it as 11 by 17 this time, but last time you did 13 by 19, you need to hit the proper button because it's going to send in the last setting. That is what triggers that paper mismatch. When it's a new printer, the last setting or the default setting is plain paper standard, 8.5 inch by 11. Now, if you go and you send something and you send it as 11 by 17 premium matte, and then the next time you send it as 13 by 19, it is still going to trigger a paper mismatch because you change the paper size. Anytime you change the paper size or paper type, it will trigger a mismatch. Quality does not trigger the mismatch. Okay? So that is why you're getting the banding lines. You want to either use, now, premium matte, your color's going to be wrong. One, because it's oversaturated. And two, it's just going to be wrong. I'm going to show you why your colors are going to always be a little bit off when it comes to utilizing the small format EcoTank printers. But using premium matte, it oversaturates it and it can make your colors a little bit off. But if you use, honestly speaking, sublimation paper, you can leave it at plain paper, just change it to high. And I have a full video on my recommended setting, which it can work for other papers, but why deal with all that? Like, they're not helping you with this. They're not giving you this information. So go get our paper and then use our settings and, you know, everything's going to be golden. But if you're using premium matte and it's sending that way, it's going to have like all these banding lines in it. So you have to make sure that you change it. Now, while your colors are off, now we are at 1 hour and 3 minutes. I'm going to start at 1 hour and 4 minutes for why your colors are off. So we went through banding lines. Now we're going to go through why your colors are off. I'm going to start that at 1 hour and 4 minutes. 1 hour and 4 minutes. I'm going to discuss why your colors are off. Somebody write that so that I remember on my YouTube videos to go put a timestamp. I'm not putting a timestamp for all that other stuff, but I will put a timestamp for these. Ooh, child. The edges is not edging, child. Ooh, Lord, we're going to push this wig back, honey. Okay, 4 minutes. Okay. Epson EcoTank printers. Every Epson EcoTank printer, even the ones that cost $800, meaning the $85.50. Every Epson EcoTank printer, except, so when they ask me what do I recommend, these are why, except the 16600 and 16650 printer. Every one except 16600, 16650, which are about $1,000 to $1,300 respectively. They use dye-based inks. All the other printers, 16600, 16650, and workforce printers use pigmented ink. All the other ones use dye-based ink. 16600, 16650, workforce, artisan 1430, and then like there's some others. They use Epson calls it Epson Durabright ink. If it's not Epson Durabright ink that it uses, it's dye-based ink. Do we see the differences in these two inks? Can you see the differences in these two inks? Food color, this is yellow, but the color definitely looks orange, right? This looks yellow, right? This is a darker ink. I like to call this blackout ink. That's like if you look at the magenta. This is Canon, but it's still dye-based ink. That sucker almost looks black. But if I show you a magenta sublimation or pigment ink, this is pigment ink. It looks pink. It looks magenta. This is sublimation ink. It looks red. It looks pink, magenta. This is pigmented cyan. It looks blue. That looks black, right? It looks really dark. Now, if you put it up to the light, you might see blue. but this is nice bright blue. Now this one is a bit darker, but it's still giving blue. And especially if I go like that, it's giving blue and not black, right? So because they are meant to process a lighter, thinner, when I say light, I mean as far as like the consistency and darker ink, when you are putting sublimation ink, which is actually formulated to match pigment ink, your colors are going to be off. You'll never get a good, like you have to really, really have the perfect color code for like grays. They'll come out. Now, if you're, depending on which type of ink, if you're using those brands where the black ink looks brown, looks like rust, your grays are going to come out brown. If you're using an ink like ours that has more of a bluish or purplish undertone, it's going to come out more of a purplish tone. And then the other ones will come out more of a brown tone because of the way their black ink is. It's not about burning it. It's just the way it is because you're using an EcoTank printer. You only get truer colors when you use a printer that uses pigment ink, because that's what this ink is formulated as. I do not care what company it is. Well, some people say, oh, that'll hurt you because all these other companies are making it seem like it's their formula. It's a special formula. We make it. You can use it with EcoTank. The only thing that makes it to where you can use it with an EcoTank is it's easier to pour it into an EcoTank is the nozzle. This is the only reason why people recommend EcoTanks. Oh, you don't have to convert it. You don't have to buy cartridges. You don't have to keep changing and refilling cartridges. So they make it seem like it's the best option, but it is not the best option. Is it going to still sublimate? Yes. If color isn't like a major factor, meaning something like this, your customers don't know what color this is supposed to be. Something like this. Your colors they don't know. Like it's going to be a little bit off, but who's going to care? Like it's pretty. It's a neon animal print. They're not going to care. But the moment you have something where it is someone's logo, or if it's like a team color and you know, like it's a common color, you're looking for it to be a specific color. When you're using the EcoTank printers, that's where you're going to see the difference. And you may have some color like this ain't the right color. And you have to use color charts at that point if you are filling in the colors yourself. If you are using something that is pre-made, you got it from online, like you Googled it, you got it from Etsy, from Creative Fabrica, you don't know what that designer used as far as color codes. Everybody's monitor is different. You're not going to really be able to adjust it. Now you can play around with it. You may have to do a bunch of samples, get you some scrap fabric, some scrap towels, polyester, and do a bunch of different settings to test it out and see which one is going to give you the best results. But you aren't going to have, like, you're not going to be able to use the same exact setting for every single thing in order to get those colors. You may have to tweak it a little bit, take out some magenta or cyan and play around with those settings to get it just right. There is no exact science to it. It's trial and error. But because of the types of ink, you're always going to experience that. No one, absolutely no one can give you this magic setting. They cannot give you a magic profile that's going to make a printer that prints this ink print sublimation ink the correct color. I don't care what they tell you, okay? So unfortunately, in the groups, they tell you that it's the best one, but they're not telling you all. It's the easiest. Is it the best to convert EcoTank printers? No, but it is the easiest. All right? So unfortunately, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about your colors being off, especially like now. Now is where a lot of people notice the colors. Like before, when they're just kind of printing something, it's a little bit off. Oh, but I still like the color. I like it better this way. I like it like better in this color anyway. Where a lot of people start to see where these colors are kind of off at is when they start doing sports teams, because these sports teams have iconic colors. So when you go to print them and your teals or your greens and your oranges, your reds look orange, your purples look off, your royal blues look purple, things like that. It's when you're doing these teams and these schools where you're starting to notice it. But if you're doing like just some random Halloween design, some random design like this, animal print, rustic type design, those what's the little cows called with little hair all over it? It's like it's a specific type of cow. You see stuff like that, you're not going to really notice how off those colors are, except for things like neon greens, hot pinks, certain yellows. You'll notice it a little bit because you're looking for that bright color. But just for like standard colors, you don't notice it until, for a lot of people, when it comes to the sports ones, and those colors are off and they're not matching the team colors. But this is why I'm always, I hate the fact that Epson switched up their printers. The Workforce printers and the Artisan printer were the best printers. But now, Workforce printers are still going to give you the better color. It's just hit and miss when it comes to the chips. That's why my recommendation for the best printer, whether it's wide format or small, is going to be the 16600 and 16650 printers. All right. Now, if y'all want to go ahead and thank your girl for that, it's hashtag $HSINK365 over on Cash App, or you can hit up the PayPal. If you want to say thank you, $HSINK365. If you feel inclined to. If you have any questions, last call for questions. We're at an hour. Last call for questions. Bongos is stuck in my head. I keep taking my dress in like I'm a dancer. Like I just want to not say, I guess it's not salsa dancer, but like, I don't know. Bongos is stuck in my head. So my feet and stuff are moving and my bottom half is moving because Cardi B and Meg Stallion bongos is stuck in my head. Wait, did I miss? Well, I feel like there was something Sloat related I was supposed to do. Oh yeah, okay, so I gotta open it back up. But it's probably settings that really mean nothing. Waiting for VersaWorks to open. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Someone just said that. Go to our website. Go to Essentials. Get the color chart. Print it out and sub it to a tumbler. Sub it to a shirt. Sub it to a rag. Sub it to felt sheets. Go to Hobby Lobby, Joann's, or Michael's. Get white felt sheets. You can also get colored felt sheets if you want to see how the sublimation colors will look on colors. Get colored felt sheets. Felt sheets are polyester. You're going to see some that's going to say made from plastic bottles. That's all polyester is, which is why you get that line that melts into it. Polyester is nothing but it's man-made. It's synthetic. A lot of stuff is made from plastics. So that's what the felt sheets are. Get those pressure color charts to them. We have them preset up to print to 8.5 by 11. It's like an 8.5 by 10 inch size to go right onto the felt sheets. Print that out and that will be your reference. So I recommend that everybody have color charts. I have color charts for sublimation. I have my color chart printed out for my Roland BN20. I have my color chart on one for DTF. I have color charts for everything that I print to. So you plug in the codes whenever you are designing. So when I'm designing and I'm typing out, honestly speaking, and I want it to be a specific color, I'm going to look at this chart. This code says that this color is 00FFCC. I'm going to click on that element. I'm going to go to my color settings, no matter which program you're using, and I'm going to go to that hex code. I'm going to put in 00FFCC. And I know no matter what it looks like on the screen, when it prints out and I sublimate it, it's going to be this particular color. Did you get any training when you first got yours? I didn't, and it's been learned as I go. You have to remember that I've been doing this for 20 years. A lot of these machines are self-explained. They are pretty much the same. So I didn't get any official training on it, but I've also been using different printers and things for over 20 years. So all right. So which one are you referring to on this screen or in the settings? Which screen are you referring to? The main screen? And you're saying what's down here? Or like if you were to click on something, let's just go to my stickers. So here is your settings. It is your, oh, come on. Dang it. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to. Okay, dang it, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so let's see. Are you talking about the main screen or like under settings? Like on this one, I'll just tell you, you have your settings. The next one is RIP. So once you have like all of your settings, like if you want to kind of have it, you can either have, it'll either RIP when it's printing, and that's when you see it here under RIP status and then print status. So that arrow is your RIP. The print is to send it to print. Then you have nesting. Then you have to cancel. You have the trash, and I forget what. So yeah, then this one is to save that job. So if you want to save it so that you can delete it, but then upload it, that's what it is. Click on something. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I mean, I clicked on it to print, but that's what I'm saying. Are you wanting me to go into settings? Because here, it's still only going to show the same thing. Nothing changes. I have something selected. So are you referring to going into settings? Because here is settings, RIP, print, nest, save, cancel, and then the trash can. Okay, so I'm going to go into, okay, I'm in settings. What area are you referring to under settings? Under media settings, you have the size, scaling, position, print properties. You have quality, color adjustments, file format, mark, printer controls, cut controls, job management, clip and tile, variable data, special color. Okay, so under layout. Okay, I'm on layout. What about layout? Media, like I said, under layout, you have media settings, scaling, position, properties. Okay, what about the scaling? It's either at 100%, that's just going to be as is. If you go fit to media size, you are going to change it. That's what I was saying before. If you have that check and you're going to sell it fit to media size, it's going to change that. I don't have that check. I just leave it at scaling 100%, which means there's no scaling. So scaling is not an individual. So as soon as you go to layout, oh crap. I'm sorry. My laptop is a true 21-inch screen. I'm sorry. It's huge, or 19-inch screen. This sucker's huge. So when you go to layout, the first one is media settings, scaling, position, and print properties. Scaling is in the middle. You just don't click where it says fit to size. What do you mean, or the design? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, under layout, media settings, scaling, position, print properties. I always think I have to change the size. I always think I have to change. Why? No. Whatever you brought, that's the issue. You're trying to change the size. That's going to come in at whatever size you brought that in as. So you don't touch that. You leave that alone. That's for the actual image. So whether it's one. So like for me, I have mine set to 4 copies. If I were to take that down to 1, this is how I designed this file. This file was 18 inches by 3 inches. I don't touch that. So whether you built in a gang sheet or if you brought in one image, you never change the size of it because that is the size that you designed it as. You don't put fit. So if I were to take this and put fit media size, it's going to probably expand that a little bit. So I'm just going to take that back down. Now let's say, okay, let me see one that is bigger. All right, let's just go Chiefs. Oh wait, cancel. Let's go. Nope. Okay. So I have this, right? So all of this was set up on the page. It's telling me that this says fit to media size. I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to uncheck that. So this is 8.5 by 20 is what this whole, 18.5 by 20 is what this whole thing is. If I go to media size, I don't even see the size. It's just going to adjust it itself. Like in it, I'm not sure if you saw. So I'm going to hit this and it's going to shrink down some. See? And then it's scaled up. So that's probably why your stuff is wrong if you have your fit to media size or if you're changing the size of it. It's going to come in whatever size you designed it. No, you size your design when you're creating it. You don't, unless you want to. Now, if you want to change it, it is going to be 8. Like if it comes in, it's 10 by 10. But if you then wanted that to be 11 by 11, then you type that in for 11 by 11 and it will change it to that size. But it's going to come in whatever size you designed it in Silhouette Studio. It matches whatever size you made the design. It should. Now, now it's like if it doesn't match, did you, like if it was a picture, did you trace and detach? Did you so does it still have a transparent area around it? Did you just do trace outer edge and then just had the cut line? So if you didn't go and remove all of those transparent pixels around it, and I did a video on that about sizing, all that extra is what it's based off of. It's not based off of the image in the middle. So it's probably how you set it up if you feel like it's not the same size. If your box was a certain size, but once it got over here, it printed out like an inch or two smaller, that's because you had an inch or two of extra space around it. Yeah, it shouldn't change. You clip the space with the tile selection. No, you should not be doing any of that. You don't clip the space with the tile. Like, that's not what tiling is for, and trying to bring that in. You set all of that up. You have to remember that VersaWorks is just a RIP software. It's going to be based off of whatever you bring it in as. So you set everything up, your size, everything in Silhouette Studio or Illustrator or Affinity or Flexi. That is where you will set your size up at, is in those softwares. Once you save it as a PDF or even a JPEG and bring it in, it is going to come in at that exact size. You do not change that unless you want to shrink it or you want to increase the size. So let's say you created a design originally for a large shirt. Now someone else wants a 2X. Instead of you going in and changing it, you can have that same file and you can change the setting to make it 11 inches wide, or let's say 12 inches wide. It's going to automatically adjust the height of it. And so you're able to change that. But if it's what you want it to be, like however you set it from Silhouette Studio to Affinity to VersaWorks is what the size is. Leave it at 100% scale. Do not click fit to size. Do not change the size of it. Yeah, that's why I said, I'm like, I don't never touch none of that stuff. Only time is if like I made it maybe a little bit too big and it's like it wants to tile it out. I'll just go fit to page and it's going to make it exactly 18.3 inches wide. I think I messed up when I make the sheet that I did. Oh, okay. Yes, that is where you are messing up. You cannot. So if you bring that in, it's still the correct size, right? So let's say you design it to 11 by 17. The design at the top is still the correct size. What you've now changed is like having all of that extra space, because if you print it out, nothing else is going to print. It's just that it's going to feed out more. Like after it gets done printing, it's going to feed all of that out because the box is that size. So what you're supposed to do is in Silhouette Studio, you make your box the size or maybe like a quarter of an inch bigger than the design. So like if your design is 6.5 by 5, you can make your box. Like I always do 18.3. If I'm doing adhesive vinyl, it's usually 18.3 because that's the whole width of it. But I normally change the height of it. So it'll be, so if it was like 6.5 by 5, I normally always have it at 18.3 or 18.3 for HTV, 18.5 for adhesive vinyl. And then my height, I'll have that be like 5.25. And I'm going to center that, like put it to the top, like put it in there where it fits in there. If I'm doing a single image and I want it to be a single image, then I'm going to make my box like, let's say you can make it where it's like, if your design is 6.5 by 5, you can make your design page 6.5 by 5 and then hit the center to page. It's as long as your design is no bigger than 6.5 by 5, you hit center to page, it's going to be right in there. It's going to hit the very top, the very edges, and then you're going to save that and it will be scaled to size. No, don't do that. Don't save it in the size that it needs to be. Because you can clip it unless you are zooming in completely. You may not be clipping away enough, or you might be taking away too much. Yeah, it makes no sense to you and use those settings. It's easier to do it in Silhouette. Just make your design box the size of your design, or like a quarter of an inch, or actually no. So it would be really a half an inch. That way it's a quarter of an inch on one side or the other side, top and bottom. So whatever it is. So like if I did it, I would say if it was 6.5 by 5, I could make it like 7 by 5.5. And then I'm going to center it. I'm going to take that design, make sure it's all grouped together and center it to page. And then I'm just going to save it. Yeah, you should always just think of it as printing, because that's what you're going to do over there. The same way that I say for print and cut, your design page size has to match your media size. It's the same thing. You, whatever your image is, you're going to make your design box that size and just center it. All right. Hopefully this session was helpful for you guys. Make sure that you guys visit our website and check out the ink and paper. So our paper is, honestly speaking, we carry 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14. So many people think that those small format printers, you can only use 8.5 by 11. You can use 8.5 by 14, especially if you're doing smaller items. This is better for gang sheets, and you're going to profit more because you're going to be able to fit more on here. Even if you're doing tumblers, like you can do a tumbler print and then you can put some smaller things on here, keychains. So don't sleep on 8.5 by 14-inch paper. If you are tiling things together, it is better to use the longer paper. If you're doing like a shirt, you're going to do too many 8.5 by 11s. Get you some 8.5 by 14. At least that's going to give you more like length to tape it together. So we recommend, getting our paper. We have 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14, 11 by 17, 13 by 19, and the rolls are available. Everybody can use rolls. Your Epson printers print up to 47 inches long. If you have a 2703, 2700, 4700, 48, whatever it is, we have a 15,000. All Epson printers print up to 47 inches long. You just have to make an 8.5 by 47-inch sheet, 8.5 by 36-inch sheet, 8.5 by 24-inch sheet. You cut it down and you're able to feed that through your printer. If you have an 8550, you can actually go 87, 82, 80 some odd inches long with that. So go to the website, purchase the rolls of sublimation paper on pre-order. We haven't quite met our minimum for that to be able to place the order. Once we do, it'll take roughly about like 4 to 6 weeks for us to get in, probably less than, I'm saying that once we actually go, and we're going to send out an email once we actually finalize it and place that order. But you guys can go on there, order the 8.5 by 11. If you have a wide format, you can order the 13 by 19. If you have the F570, you can order the 24-inch. We have it in fast dry and tacky this time. We're going to try out the fast dry because a lot of people asked us about that, to have the longer sheets of fast dry. So head over to the website, order the pre-order of the rolls, and just get the regular paper, like I said, as well as check out our classes, okay? Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be ink credible. Peace.